walking, oh yeah, just for me. Hey! Thank you for the company. Great Rod isn't, y'all. Great Rod isn't. So happy to be walking. Happy to be walking. Thank you for the company. Let's see. Is that team too much? Well, you was too busy. Hey, y'all. Yes, indeed. Get your chair. Get your mat. Just line up if you're walking wall to wall. Thank you for the company. Get your chair if you're going to sit down and kick your feet, jump on your bike, or your trail. So happy to be walking. Happy to be walking. Thank you for the company. Yes, indeed. Great Rod isn't. Let me tell y'all, I have been wanting to, for years, I studied Egyptology just from compiling library books for years, reading. I know you in this country you ain't educated unless you go to college, but for years, and I wanted Easter, Christmas, I would put my offering altar together, and I would have my Egyptian books on hand. I'm just trying to turn this a little bit, y'all. Okay, there we go. I would have my Egyptian books on hand, and I would have them up on the altar. Hey, thanks for coming on the walk. And I wanted to say Ra. I love the sun, but I didn't love, as a child, I kept confusing S-U-N with S-O-N. And then when I went to my cult, they said, well, it's the same. The S-O-N is our cult God son. And I was like, well, no. I want to call him Ra, because that's what they call him. They call it God, but it's Ra. I prefer, like, you know, it's just the energy ball in the sky. Ra. Nothing more. Energy ball in the sky that makes the plants grow, that gives me health, makes me healthy, makes you healthy. We need it. And Ra is the old time name coming out of Egypt. Oh, Ra. So I found this thing and it says rising. Ra. And I was like, well, nope, I got to put the African American in. Ra-isms. If you don't add an S, you ain't African American. Oh, hey, y'all, I had the best. We barbecued on Sunday. And I hadn't worked that hard since I did the Juneteenth down at the African Burial Ground in New York City back in 2000. It was before the World Trade Center, so 2000. I went down to the African Burial Ground, but I remember that setup. Oh, I made rice, collard greens, fried pork chop, fried chicken, fried fish, macaroni and cheese. Oh, sweet potato pie, potato salad, macaroni salad, Yeah. And I think I had some cake. And that was the spread for the Juneteenth celebration at the African burial ground. Because I want to say Sarah. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Wow. Oh, YouTubers. Oh, YouTube has kicked me out my live broadcast. Well, y'all will not be seeing me today. You won't be seeing me today. Sorry about that. If you don't have YouTube, I don't know what to tell you. You missed this day. You got the first part, but you missed everything else. So, I don't know why it's asking me to repost anything, but let's see. Y'all can see, post it, because then you can see that I was here, and Facebook kicked me out, but I got YouTube. Sorry, YouTubers. So, here we are. Let me see if I can go back in. Y'all keep walking. I'm sorry about this. You know. Let's see. I'm just going to say walking. I'm just going to say walking. And see if I'll change it later. Walking. I don't know. It ain't coming back. So, we ain't gonna stop again. We ain't gonna stop again. So that's, I just want to get this angle right. We got 40 minutes to go. And this is after, you know, the Monday from all right. I just can't get it exactly perfect the way I want it to. Like right in the middle. I'm going to try one more time. Oh, I got some good news for y'all. Johnny, remember the guy I told y'all next door? Who, he does weddings and stuff like that. He does weddings and stuff like that. So, he's going to be here on Sunday to line up my cameras for me. So I'm happy about that. And that's Sunday. And I can't think of anything else. Yes. I want to go back into Pride Month because I want to say that I don't like this thing behind me. I want to say that I ask all the community to please, especially the African American transgender women, please stop trying to get into these cults that do not accept you. The apathetic solid cults, they don't accept you. They don't accept me. Women bring their children to church to sit there and have a man. They don't have a man in their house, but the man in front of them telling them that their mother is trash. She go around sleeping with guards while her husband be laying next to her. Then she be told not to do something, and she do it, and she get turned into a pillar of salt. Okay? You feeling me? And every Sunday, you bring your son there. Ooh, okay, y'all, one more time. I know it was missing my fan. I'm sorry. I gotta have a fan. A rough start for a Tuesday. Ooh, but it smells so good outside. Okay. I dressed to sweat. Oh, yeah. Okay, that feels good. So, you have to, you take your child to church on Sunday. And you hear how women sleep with gods. They, what do they do? Have babies in barns, like cows. What else? The big one. The big one. We made Adam bite the apple. So you take your son, your little boy, to church every Sunday to hear a man tell your son how this big book says that you're nothing. The pastor or the cult leader is everything. The cult leaders, they call them disciples, gang groups, 12 gangs, gang members, they're to be respected and looked up to. And your mama's a hoe. But women bring their sons there all the time. Not to the library to get books. Not for a walk to learn nature. Not game day. Let's sit down, family game day. Family cook day. But you bring them there. And then you don't understand why they don't listen to you. I couldn't understand that with my grandmother. She would have us sit there, and I would hear him clearly say, don't go to your mother, don't go to your father, go to Jesus. Your mother can't help you, your father can't help you, no one can help you but Jesus. But then you turn you say talk to your parents, share with your parents. Every Sunday I was told you don't share with them. You don't tell them. You tell Jesus. And skip the middle people. And I couldn't understand that. I couldn't understand how my grandmother could condone that. So another reason why I didn't do church with my daughter until she was way older and she knew who was in charge is because, no. I'm not going to bring her every day there for you to degrade me, use me. Well, what was that Abraham nasty guy? Running around getting all these young girls. But that's okay. Why ain't there no old woman in the Bible running around getting these young boys? Why that ain't in that book? Oh, okay, I know one. So find your own thing. Make up your own thing. One thing about America, it's not freedom of religion, it's freedom of cults. Make your cult. Stop looking for their one. They made theirs own up for years, thousands of years. They made theirs up. That's it. If you know anything about Egyptology, the Book of the Dead is the Egyptians. But we ain't going to get into all that. Ha, ha, ha. But during this holiday, as you give the ancestors of the community, LGBTQ plus community, as you give the ancestors and the warriors before you and the ones still on the battlefield today, go for the legislation. Go for legislation. You know, it used to kill me when I worked for GARC. I didn't name it then. Now called ableist. And I couldn't get any male volunteers to go with me on trips like to the Yankees game or to the Bronx Zoo or anything like that. But there were times I had a lot of men. So what I would do, because I couldn't go into the men's room with them, so I would let them in and position myself by the door, and I would spend the whole time yelling to them. I'd be like, Joe, you in the stall? Or you at the urinal? And I hear, I'm at the urinal, Vicki. And I said, okay. You all right? Yeah. I would talk to them all the way through. So I could understand if it took them a little while longer in the bathroom. But I knew what was going on. And at times when I was in a situation where I couldn't yell in response, I would literally, now looking back at it, it could have been a little dangerous, but they knew somebody was there waiting for them. So I'd be like, one of my participants is in the restroom. I've been calling for him. Could you call him? His name is Joe. Could you let him know that I'm out here waiting for him? And tell Joe to call, yell for me? And they would just stand there looking, but they would go in there. And they'd say, Joe, you in there? Vicki want to know if you in there. And I would hear, I'm in here, Vicki. So you see, me and Sebastian got kicked out of the ladies' room at the Board of Education. The woman finally looked at me and she said, he is really too old to be used in the ladies' room. I was like, fine, home, mind your business. So he was 6, maybe 7. But it's a big building. So then I had to do another strategy. He'd go in the men's room by himself, and I would just like hold the door open, and I would do my thing. Hey, what you doing? You almost finished? Where you at? You in the toilet? You in the stall? You okay? You want me to come in there? I always did that. I didn't trust anyone. It didn't matter to me. I didn't worry about the drag queens coming in the bathroom or the pedophile. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. I've always protected the children that was under my care. And I found creative ways to do it. They knew if I didn't have a male volunteer, I'm going to be at the bathroom door screaming till you come out. Just how you doing? You all right? And then there was times, because we had some, they used to flood the toilet. They would be in there flooding the toilet, and I'd be calling. I ain't hear nothing, calling. And I said, damn, probably in there flooding that toilet. Then I would scream out, I got to come in there. I got to come in there. I got a participant there. I got to come through right now. And I would walk right in the men's room and find out what stall was in. It's usually the one that had the water running over. Then I would just escort him out the bathroom and act like nothing ever happened. So even with my daughter, she stuck with me all the way through. All the way through. My nephews, just until again like Sebastian, when the woman look at me, don't you think he a little too old to be in here? I'm like, mind your business, hoe. So I've always protected them. So that's about nonsense. Go for legislation. Stop going for these cults. Cult leaders don't want strong women. And it's beautiful. And it's feminine. as transgender women are, they don't like women. So they don't like you. And they can't understand. They made they made this society so catered to men. Like I told you, my grandmother raised me to take care of men. That whole generation, to take care of them. There's a whole race that can't take care of themselves. Can't cook. Can't fold their clothes. Don't even know how to wipe their ass. But it doesn't matter because there's a woman being groomed to wipe your ass. So go politically. Go to change laws. And leave those cults alone. Go to get those cults out of the law. Go to get those haters out of the law. Those haters made the black code law and the Jim Crow law. Because God said that black people, they is evil. They is evil. They is cussed. They cussed. Leave them cults alone and go for changing legislation. That's what you do. It's Pride Month. And you give honor to your ancestors. The ones who walked before you, who helped you and the LGBTQ plus community. Woo! Y'all, we did it. First 20 minutes. Da-di-da-di-da-di-do. First 20 minutes. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba-da-boo. Let's get some water, y'all.
I'm oh yeah, just humble me, I'm walking. Thank you for the company.
My throat, y'all.
I'm walking. So happy to be walking.
Not too bad, huh? Not too shady,
be walking.
Right?
Thank you for the company. Yes, indeed, I'm walking. Oh yeah, just humble me. I'm walking.
I'm walking and I'm walking.
I'm walking.
I'm really. Do y'all hear that bass?
I'm walking. So happy to be walking. Happy to be walking. Thank you for the company.
Yes. I love that disco bass. I always love the bass. From the funk to the disco. I didn't like when the Europeans, the Germans came in to disco because they didn't have the funk. They didn't have that beat, that get down beat. They had electronic. That was their disco. We had boom, 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 boom. It's totally different things. Anyway, that's what I want to tell y'all. Community folks, go for legislation. Go to change laws that discriminate against women. When there's laws discriminating against women, you fight against those laws. Because I've always fought against laws that discriminate against transgender women. Always. At 21, 20, my bestie, bestie, Name is Martin. She's a transgender woman. In the process of it, in the throes, but this is back in the 80s. Well, beginning of the 80s at that. You know? Always stand up for them. Like right now, they're trying to control abortion. Stand with the ladies. Don't tell me what to do with my body. Because you're saying the same thing as a transgender woman. Don't tell me what to do with my body. Okay, this is bothering me just a little bit. Y'all keep walking. I'm just a little disturbed. I don't know. Let me see. I don't like my arms being cut off. Okay, that's better. Like the kids do. The pants leg, one pants leg up, one pants leg down. I do it with my sleeves. Okay. Go for legislation. You know? That's what you do. You don't just keep, trying to go up against these cults. It's too many of them. There's a cult, they call it a mega church, and he's a pastor or a reverend, and his claim to fame is, women, thou art loose. Can you imagine a little boy at home? And his mother is listening to someone, some big cult leader, telling her she loose. She is loose. She is so loose. She looser than a goose. She is so loose. And then she says, I don't know. My son doesn't listen to me. He calls me a whore. Well, don't you just take him somewhere where you said he was loose? I don't know what my issue is with this camera this morning, but I'm having one. So let's ride along with that. I tell him to come in, and he don't listen to me. I tell him to don't do this, and he doesn't listen to me. I tell him that he should be in this time, but he doesn't listen to me. Well, you took him to church for years where the man called you a whore, and you gave him money. You took him, and he heard that if women don't listen to men, they turn into a pillow of salt. This one used to always give me. Jesus hung out with whores. He ain't hang out with no ladies. He ain't hang out with educated people or nothing like that. He ain't sit down and have a little talk with a female professor or female doctor. All I ever heard of Jesus and women is that he hung out with whores. And if you're a whore, don't be afraid to come to Jesus. And I sit there and think, wow. And then they used to explain it. She wasn't like a whore like you got nowadays that run from man to man. She was a whore like the prostitute that sell. They both still bad, but you see, Jesus wanted both of them. And I just sit there and say, wow. So, I'm not a whore, but maybe that's why all this incest is running up through here? Is this why I came from New York and walked into the middle of this cult thing? Is this why men can run around and feeling touches on you and you can't say or do nothing? Because it's expected. He didn't hang out with good girls. Listen, Jesus' mother slept with a God while her husband was living right next to her. What kind of whore is that? And I couldn't understand it. And I could understand why, even in church, when they brought that up, I was like, well, why? Running around here, throwing your legs open to anybody and everybody? No, that was what you was wishing. Couldn't wait to get off that pulpit and deacons get out right there so y'all can go and accidentally bumping the asses and chests and arms swinging. Please. I wasn't going to go tell her. I told Dave, I'm the final word. I told my daughter, don't be scared of nobody but me. Please me. Please me. And any child I ever work with, I tell them, you better make your mom, keep your mama happy. You better keep your mama proud, your mama and your daddy proud and happy. Because they can get you before anybody. I'm getting new glasses, y'all. Y'all gonna, and another week, then we go and y'all won't see these foggy up ones. Finally went and got them. So, that's what I would ask for the community to do. Go for legislation. And I'd ask African Americans to get out there and vote. I was the same way y'all was. I couldn't understand why these African Americans was going for this Democrat. I couldn't understand. Democrats ain't give you nothing. Republicans gave you money. You had a chance of making money. That was delusion. And I was young. It was a delusion. Because at the same time, the Republicans were trying to stop me from voting. And they still are. And they still are. But I was so mad because the old cult people was in the Democratic Party. But I know about legislation. And the minute I clicked into that, I said, listen, what's most important is that we legislate for them to stop. Which is very strange. But it never makes any sense. Cults don't make sense. That's why it don't make sense. Even as a child, I said, why? 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 Because you ain't supposed to ask why. You ain't supposed to ask why. You're just supposed to accept it. Why? You want to look at pedophilia? When I look back at it now, they used to have the Sunday where the kids come up to the front and the cult leader would be there with you, touching, patting, touching places he ain't supposed to be playing, as we all gathered around for him to say the prayer at youth time. Because suffer the little children to come unto me. So you remove the stranger danger. Because basically, if a man called you, you had to come. He called you, you came. He called you from when you were small. And there's times they would say, come over here. And I'm like, I don't want to get close to you because I know if I get close to you. But I had no choice. I had no choice. Because I was taught to trust them and leave. Because that's what women are to them. You're not going to be a good girl. That's what it was. The pastor could touch on you. And when you say something, even to today, when you say something, they don't see it as dominance. Dominating. And in cults, you need that. You need somebody to follow the Pied Piper. And the young girls following the Pied Piper will get the young men to follow you too. So you always had to go. And I couldn't stand when a man called me. Because, especially as a teenager, it wasn't anything really good. It wasn't. It was always a touch or feel. Because they're taught that women are whores, so that's what I want. That was my life in South Carolina with them as a woman. And a teenager at that. What do you mean you're not a whore? Why would you go to church if you're not a whore? You made the Reverend touch you. Okay, now you're a whore. You made the Reverend touch you. You made the Reverend grab your face and stick his nasty, stinking tongue down your throat. You made him. And how dare you tell? You ain't tell all the other stuff. Why you tell that? I'll talk about that in my book. So, I say to the community, don't go for that. Go for legislation and go for being happy. Whatever you want to be identified as, called to, spoke to, feel, show on the outside, do it. No one has a right to do that. Oh, let me tell you all this before I forget. We have a female puppy. She's about 2.5-year-old now, and then we have the big pit bull, and he'll be 8 this year. And then we're dog sitting a 7-year-old, but a Brussels Griffin who's only 10 pounds. So you have a 75-pound, a 40-pound, and then a 10-pound. And the 10-pound and the 40-pound, which is the girl, they have pissing contests, which is the funniest thing ever. We have to clean it up. My daughter has to clean it. But she gives as good as she gets. There's nothing there telling her, we're telling her, you better not touch him. But nothing telling her that she can't get into a peeing contest with him. Nature didn't say, oh, you're a lady. Don't be in a peeing contest with a man. Did you ever look at the disadvantage between men and women is things like that? A woman doesn't pee in public. A man can pee all over the place in public. They just started giving them tickets for indecent exposure or peeing out in public. But there was laws from the cult stopping women all the time, or a civilized society stopping women. A man can go out in civilized society and pee up against the wall and come back, and civilized society say, okay, he had to go. A woman has to go. She goes in the back, lift up her skirt and pee and come back, and they say, oh, oh. Nature don't do that. Nature tells the little 40-pound female dog that she can get in a pissing contest with the little 10-pound boy, Russell Griffith, and that's what they do. Who's going to pee first? Who's going to mark the territory first? Who's going to take control? And sometimes you can just tell. We see the wee-wee pads clear, 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 and then they get together, and then you see this is big spot. Then you see this little spot. Or sometimes you'll see the paper clear and then you see this little spot. And you see this big spot. And they go back during the day. And she's involved in a pissing contest. Nature didn't stop women from being in pissing contests. Cults, and as they call it, polite society. When people say polite society, that means women get their ass kicked and keep their mouth shut. That's what polite society means. You don't tell when your husband punches you across the room. That's why I'm asking the community to stop going with that. It's BS. It's something they made up. Do you? Do you? Martin was always polite to me. I haven't met a transgender or LGBT person that was really rude to me. And if they was, they was funny. I know they were saying something funny, or they was doing a read. Not malicious. Just being them. As RuPaul said, a drag queen is a little gay boy with too much fashion sense. So, he's going to talk about your wear. He'll talk about what you wear and how you wear. I love it. Always been like that. I've never been with the, oh, don't talk to them. So, what do you mean don't talk to them? Who said that? Ain't we all Baptists, can't we? Ain't we doing the same thing? No. Our Baptist church is better than their Baptist church. Our Baptist church is bigger than their Baptist church. But still you ask, especially in African American, why can't we come together? Look and see how there are 4 churches on one block, and you will see why we can't come together. The cults, honey. The cults. The cults. They're not going to get along. The cult leaders ain't going to share. Cult leaders don't collaborate with other cult leaders. And you say to yourself, well, the civil rights, they collaborated. No, they just went up against hate. And they had to, because that's what their whole speech is about. Their whole mission statement. The mission statement of Christianity. Hate, injustice, evil, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. Whoo, y'all. Whoo, we did it. We did it. We just got about 5 minutes to go. Oh, and Sunday, Johnny will be here to make sure my lights and everything is in place and taken care of. So, there's that. And I work out my lighting problem and all. Yeah, honey. Finger exercises. This is what my finger loves. My hand loves it. Loves stretching it out. Making sure that all this walking, that blood gets to the tips. Right? Make sure they get to the tips. It's important when you're opening jars, when you're carrying something, when you're moving stuff. Until you're in the nursing home or in a situation where you just sit back and have people take care of you, keep these fingers moving. I got to open my own jars. jars of food. I have to carry my own bags. Whew. Let's do this. I have to do my own weights. Whew. Squeeze your gut. Tuck in your elbow. Let's do 10. One, not all the way up, all the way down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good luck. Whew. Here we are. Whew. Suck in your gut. Tuck in your elbow. Let's knock out 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and one for good luck. Whew. Yes, indeed, y'all. Yes, indeed. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Whew. Yes.
Yes,
We
indeed.
did it.
I'm walking, yes, I'm walking, I'm walking. Thank you for
I'm
the
walking.
company.
I'm walking.
I'm walking.
Oh.
So happy to be walking. Happy
Yes.
to be
I feel the sweat
walking.
rolling off me.
Thank you for the company.
Please like, comment, share, tell a friend. Please subscribe, 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 subscribe. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe,
Yes,
subscribe.
indeed. I'm walking. Yes, I'm walking. Thank you for the company. I'm walking.
Yeah.
I'm walking. So happy to be walking.
Please like, comment, share, tell a friend.
Thank you for the company.
Yeah, we did it. Well done. Thank you for subscribing.
Walking. Yes, indeed. I'm walking. Yes, I'm walking. Thank you for the company. I'm walking. So happy to be walking. Happy to be walking. Thank you for the company. Walking. Yes, indeed. I'm walking. Yes, I'm walking.
Yeah.
Thank you for the company.
Woo, we did it.
I'm walking.
Please like, comment, share, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a cousin. Thanks for coming on the walk.
Thank you for
I'll
the
see you tomorrow.
company.